Boston. You see, this has been a terrible winter. It's been very cold, we had a lot of snow, it just seemed to go on forever. But I was watching this show, and they were talking about two of the places that are usually the coldest and snowiest, and they were not this year. And so I thought, boy, where you live really influences what you think about what kind of winter we had, right? So a lot of places had really easy winters, but would we know that? So where you live so influences what you thought about this winter. So setting is important. And it's important in stories, and it's important in poems. So right now, I want you to just open your poetry folder to any poem you think the setting might be important. Any poem in which you think the setting might be important. And when you've got one, just look up so I know that you... So Rachel has one, Gavin has one, Tim's got one. Okay, so Danielle, which poem did you pick? How to Be a Friend. Why did you think the setting was important to How to Be a Friend? Can you be a friend at Glenmont School? Can you be a friend at Ellesmere Elementary School? Can you be a friend in New Jersey? So do you think the setting is important to that poem? It sounds like that's not the most important thing in that poem. Let's see if someone has another idea. Gavin. Okay. Gavin, which one? You Cannot Tell. Why did you choose that poem? Wow, that was really good thinking. You thought about setting as a time something happens, right? Because the setting is the place and the time. So you're comparing what they did then. Could we do it now? You let me know, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, well, if you say yes, then that part of the setting is not important, right? It could be anywhere, anytime. So what's a poem where it could only happen in that setting would be so important to the poem? I think Rachel has a really good one. Rachel, what poem did you choose? Sun and Moon. It's about the sun and the moon, isn't it? That setting is really important. The conversation that's going on between the sun and the moon, it couldn't take place between Pluto and another dwarf planet, could it? Could it take place between Earth and Saturn? No, it could only, the setting is so important because they're talking about the things that are happening there. So today I'm going to ask you to turn to a poem that I think the setting is really important, and it's School Days Rap. Would you find School Days Rap? And I know this is a poem that your class knows really well because you illustrated it back in the fall. So I'm thinking a good thing for us to do would just be to all say it together. Who's your VIP? Who's your line leader?
Well, today's poem, we're celebrating Cohen's birthday.
So Cohen, why don't you say the title for us and then we'll all say it.
School Days Rap.
Woke up at 8. Oh
no, I
overslept.
Ran in for the bus, but the bus had left. I raced to school, I really buzzed, but then I forgot where my classroom was. Finally found it, opened the door, my teacher turned into a dinosaur. The dinosaur roared, sit down at your desk, pick up your pencil because we're having a test. All the kids were staring, sitting in rows. I looked down and saw I'd forgotten my clothes. The dinosaur frowned and started to shake me. Turned to my mom, who was trying to wake me. Hey, sleepyhead, Tommy's here to play. Why aren't you up? It's Saturday.
So we know that that the setting is important to this poem. So what is the setting of this poem? Julianne.
Kind of bad because
Yeah, it's in his bed. What's the tricky part about this poem that might get you really confused about the setting? Adam?
He's dreaming and it's talking about his dream. So at school, so it feels like school is the setting, but really it was just a dream. So and dreams are not real, so the setting is in his bed.
Right, the setting of his bed. Perfect. So if I were to ask you, if I were to say to you, could you write about why the setting is important? You might start off, how would you start off? What do you think you would say? The setting in this poem is important because, how would you finish that because statement? Think about it. The setting in this poem is important because, what would you say? Casey, what would you say? It's important because. Well, what did we just say the setting was? Okay, so why is that important? Why is that setting in his bed important? What's he having?
A dream.
Oh, so now try it. The setting in this poem is important because. That would be a great way to start. The setting in this poem is important because he's really in his bed having a dream, right? That's really why it's important. Would you look for two lines that you think could show, or two places that could show that it's real, that's what's happening? And just put your finger on them. Don't say anything. Just put your finger on it and think, what are two examples you could show that the setting was important? I see all different ones because there are more than one, there's more than one answer. So this is what you're going to do with that Post-it note that's on your table. You're going to go back, and just like we do reading responses in our, sometimes we do it for homework, sometimes we do it in our reading journal. Today you're going to do your reading response on your Post-it note. And you want to start with something like the setting in this poem is important because, or I think the setting in this poem is important because. You might say the setting for School Days Wrap is important because. So you're going to say the because, which we kind of talked about. But then you're going to say your two reasons why you think it's important. Okay? Would you put your thumb up if you know what to do? If wait, you can go back and go right to your Post-it note and start writing. So it looks like everyone knows what to do. If you don't stay on the rug, everybody else, you're going to go back, and you've got about 5 minutes to do your writing. Tell me what you do. Tell me what you do.